We spent the last few days talking about area and surface area. You remember when we were talking about surface area, we measured surface area in terms of little squares, little square units. As for example, in this case, we have each one of these squares is 1 square centimeter. 1 square centimeter. That means that it is 1 centimeter high by 1 centimeter long, or if we want to call this width and this length, it's 1 centimeter long by 1 centimeter wide. And we were trying to find out how many of these little squares it would take to fill up our entire space. In this case, our rectangle is 6 of these little squares wide and 10 of these little squares long. And we know that the formula for the area is length times width. The area of a rectangle is length times width, which means we multiply our length, which is 10, by our width, which is 6, and that gives us 60 centimeters squared. And that was for area. From this point forward, we're not going to be talking about area, we're going to be talking about volume. And with volume, we're doing something a little bit different. We aren't just filling up a two-dimensional object with little squares. We're filling up a three-dimensional object with little cubes, and we call these unit cubes. As in this case, you can see that my unit cube here is 1 centimeter tall by 1 centimeter wide by 1 centimeter deep. You can call that length, width, and height if you choose. So length, width, and height, it is 1 centimeter long, 1 centimeter wide, and 1 centimeter high. And we're going to find out how many of these little cubes it's going to take to fill up this entire shape. So we can take a look at this and see that we have a front column and row set of 3 blocks high by 5 blocks wide. So it looks a little bit like this. And that gives us, in this particular section, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3. If you remember that formula from area, it's length times width. So we know that in each one of those sections, we have 3 blocks by 5 blocks, which is 15. 15 of these little blocks. Now, if we want to, what we can do is we can build this shape again out of these little blocks, remembering that each one of these has 15 blocks in it. We have 15. So let's take another one over. That's 15 more. And then another one. And that's 15 more. And then another one. And that's 15 more. So what we have is 15 times 4. And 15 times 4 is, of course, 60. We have 60 of these cubic centimeter blocks. Remember, area was measured in squares, so we called the units, centimeters or feet or whatever, squared. We had to have our square there. Now we're measuring volume, we're measuring it in cubes instead, and so our units are, in this case, centimeters cubed. Now, you have homework in section 12.2. So we'll take a look at homework in section 12.2 here. Take a few minutes to work on that, and we'll come back to the next section in just a few moments.